Hey, and welcome
Welcome,
to more
welcome.
than Metal, where we talk about metal and more. I'm your host John, and
I'm
with me
Bill.
today is this guy. What's you got a name? What's the name?
No, I am a man with no name, but I'm Bill Crow.
Bill Crow,
Yeah,
BC. I never called you as BC. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um,
It's like Ghost. One name.
yeah. Well,
Good. Yeah,
only when you come to the states and you need to make sure you can copyright the name enough to get the
yeah.
albums out and everything. Yeah, he's got to put the BC on it. That's a weird. That's a really weird debacle too to think about. Actually, how that was like a big thing initially,
Yeah. Very
and then
much
it,
so.
and then it just like, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe they got. Did they just get big enough where they don't have to like worry about that? Like, who's going to sue
I,
us? Like,
I
who are
think
we
they
going to
got
sue?
big enough to not care anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the real goal of most musicians is to get big enough not to care anymore.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
and that goes well and not so well for certain people, but we'll
Hmm.
say. Today's show, we're actually going to be talking about a kind of a series that we thought about called approaching metal. I don't know if that's what we're calling it, but that's what I'm calling it right now,
Yeah,
approaching
it's close
metal.
enough. I mean,
That's pretty much what it is, right? It delivers what it promises, and this is for people that are like, hey, you know what? There's this band out there. I think they sound kind of cool. I heard they're kind of cool, but I'm not sure how to get into them. Or maybe I'm coming
yeah.
from the outside and I don't know how to like segue into them. And one of them is a band that took me a while to get into. I didn't get into them until I was like in my 30s. Bill got into them when he was a way little tyke.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I was a
but
little guy.
a little band out of England called. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Iron Maiden.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
You
Iron
got the
Maiden.
pronunciation
Got the
pretty down
pronunciation
pat.
perfect. Okay. But Iron Maiden, this is a band that took me a while to get into, and so I thought we'd talk about kind of how did we approach Iron Maiden, and even what our impressions of Iron Maiden were prior to even listening to them. What do we think they might be about, or how they might sound, and the like. But yeah, we're gonna bring it back, and we'll kick into that, and here, enjoy some opening. Bill, what are you listening to?
I'm always listening to a lot, but right now, oh man, I've been revisiting very one of my favorite bands, Skeleton Witch, their album
Hell yeah, dude.
Devouring Radiant Light. God, one of my favorite album covers, by the way. It's just
That
so
is a good one.
it's good. It's very
That's like
different
the
from
that's
their
like the
previous
spotted.
albums.
It's like an ivory cover with like some like like kind of like black bluish art on it. Is
Yeah, it's
that
like
the one
it
I'm thinking
looks like
about?
a hood, like just like a
Yeah.
hood. It's great. Yeah, I've been revisiting that. That was one of those albums that I mean I can thank Spotify for this, right? Where when my queue is done, it'll start looping different or like
Mm.
playing different songs. Eventually, I realized that I had saved that whole album.
Mm.
Just every time a song from it came on, I would just save it. And eventually, I was like, wait, I have the whole album.
Then
Uh, and Fan of Shadows. That's
the Shadows is an
probably
amazing song.
I think that's probably one of my favorite songs,
Yeah.
if not my favorite song ever. It's gorgeous.
But I got a lot of respect for that album too,
Mhm.
because you and I talked about this a while back, but like, or just
Yeah,
briefly, but like one of the hardest things that a band can do is swap singers.
swap singers. Yes,
So,
that's
so great segue to talk about Iron Maiden.
yes, very much so.
But but no, that Skeleton Witch album, Divine Green Light, and Finished Shadows is like a dirty track. I like that track a lot. That one's
Hmm.
actually really well produced. That's a quintessential metal album for me, or
It's a
metal track for
beau-
me.
it's a it's beautiful. It's really
That
good.
is
I
a
I
beautiful.
also like Sacred Soil. That's another good one.
Mm.
That's one of my faves. And Carnarium Eternal. That's fun.
I will have to go back and
It's a
re-listen
good
to that
one.
album because I haven't listened to that one for a while.
It ages well. Well, what about you, John? What are you listening
Well,
to?
it's interesting. Is I got in the mail literally yesterday, or yeah, it was yesterday. No, it was 2 days ago. Oh no, on Monday actually.
One of those days.
The new Storm, the not new Storm Keep, but so if you're not familiar, Storm Keep is a black metal band out of the U.S. here, really
Yeah.
really killer. And they dropped after the last album came out, which was one of my album of the year actually when it came out was Tales of Other Time in 2021. They dropped a dungeon synth record called Lost Relics.
Oh, I love Dungeon Synth.
I
It's
love dungeon
so
synth
good.
too. It is amazing, and they put it on tape only, but it finally came out on vinyl through both Out of Season, which is a label here
Hmm.
out of the States that's a great dungeon synth label, and also Van, which is the Stormkeep's label in Germany. And Van's like probably one of my favorite labels. And it was funny
Yep.
because it went for pre-order on Friday, so Germany time that would have been Thursday for us
Mhm.
here in California. And I ordered it on Thursday from Germany, and I got it on Monday.
What the
Yeah,
hell is that
well, it's
shipping? That's
because
crazy.
it's good. And then so what's funny is Out of Season was also selling them here in the States. And I know the guy that runs the label, and he's like, "How the hell did you get this?" He's like, "We haven't even sent ours out yet." I was like, "Dude, the guys in Germany sent it to be overnight or pretty much overnight." He's like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Yeah." I was,
What? How does that even happen? That's
if you so
crazy.
it turns out that if you when you buy enough records, people like you know if you have the repeat customer, people give you kind of customer service. I don't know how else I'll
Oh,
phrase it.
well, that's cool. I
It
mean,
feels kind of I feel kind of jerky saying that kind of stuff, but I'm like, yo, like I spend money on your guys' stuff, I buy your stuff, like I'm a big music fan, and it's like you're supporting artists and stuff like that, so you're actually like
yeah.
people actually they see your name pop up in the mail order over and over again, they'll upgrade the shipping for you a little bit here and there. But I ordered that and listened to it. I hadn't listened to it yet because I held off on listening until I got on vinyl, and it was really good. It's really cool because it's it's all the background, the backing overtures from Tales of Other Time, but done in dungeon synth style.
Oh, that's
So
fucking
yeah,
cool.
so it's kind of a throwback to that album in a lot of regards. I was listening to it, and I was like, it was really cool. Like it's a really cool piece. Highly recommended. But yeah, Stormkeep Lost Relics.
Lost
Really,
Relics.
I just like that. Yeah, and that's one thing that's interesting when the black metal bands do their Dungeons and Side project or kind of like lo-fi thing. So like Wolves in the Throne Room did that with
Oh,
what was it,
yes.
Celestial?
Lineage. Celestial Lineage.
Was it? Yeah, and they had I maybe I don't know if you know because I can't find anyone that knows actually. No, it was Celestite was the name. Celestial Lineage is one of the black metal. Celestite is the instrumental one, but
Yes.
they sound identical. Yeah, they have almost identical names. But there was a side project of Wolves called, and I don't know if you know about this, but kind of a Dungeons and project or kind of instrumental project called Drow Elixir. Um,
Drow Elixir.
yeah,
That is not subtle in the fantasy lean.
no, not at all. Yeah, and it kind of like they did a show at Roadburn, but I don't think they ever released anything
Huh.
under this. So I really wish, yeah, 2018 or 2017 they were doing this, but I don't know what happened with Drow Elixir.
That's
Um,
so interesting.
but yeah, whenever these guys kind of do like a side project thing, I think it's really neat for kind of a Dungeon Center lo-fi one because I think it lets the production pressure off. Like because production pressure is really high, and when you can just kind of knock out your dungeon synth out of your bedroom or whatever it is, or just kind
Oh
of like,
yeah.
and you actually know it's not that it sounds like crap, but like it's not as refined, we'll say.
Yeah. That makes
That
sense.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what we're listening to. That's good stuff. Well,
Cool. I
listen,
gotta check that out.
so these guys, Iron Maiden,
Yeah. Indie
um,
band.
little indie band, little small band. Yeah, they don't do much. I'm kind of curious, talk about like what was your I mean, you got them early. I was
Oh
wondering,
yeah.
do you have kind of any impression of them prior to getting into them? Can you remember like what you thought Iron Maiden would be about or what they would sound like?
Absolutely. I remember it so distinctly. And it has nothing to do with the music.
Interesting.
It was only ever the merch.
Oh yeah,
My mother's guitar tech, he would always wear Iron Maiden shirts, and I remember the one he wore all
that's a
the
guitar tech for
time.
you.
Oh yeah, yeah. He would always wear this same ringer tee with the red rings on it, and it just had the trooper with the guy holding the Union Jack
Oh
and the
yeah, yeah.
saber. And I was like, and when I was got 11, 12, I was like, I love the little zombie guy on your shirt. That's really cool.
Mm.
And I mean, I would see him all the time with these shirts, and I always thought they were super cool. And then eventually, I asked him, "What is Iron Maiden?"
Fair enough.
and yeah, he showed me. He showed me the Trooper, and I was honestly hooked ever since.
Hmm.
Iron Maiden was my kind of gateway into metal, and I have listened to them ever since. It's been like God, more than 10 years now.
Oh
They're
well.
they were like such a staple and kind of pillar in my life. They always kind of come back to. What about you?
I like your term pillow. I want to come back to that, but for me, it was that I had known about Maine for a long time, and I had kind of seen stuff around. But I think my real first exposure to Iron Maiden before listening to them actively was in my sculpture class in college. We had this guy, uh, Louis, aka also known as Napalm Louis. Um, he got that nickname for basically mixing napalm in his garage one day. But like, really nice guy,
Hey.
really fun, big metalhead, really
Oh,
into like Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death, and always wore like Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death shirts and everything like that. But he also always wore Iron Maiden shirts. He talked about how Iron Maiden was his favorite, going on about Iron Maiden, and I didn't really know what Maiden was about. I wasn't really into metal then. I was much more into goth and industrial. I was into some metal, but not a whole lot of it. And I just assumed that Iron Maiden was going to be like scream ass stuff, like just a bunch of screaming and like all kind. Not really anything that was like, for lack of
as
a better term, like
melodic.
melodic, but also like just for lack of a better term, intelligent.
Yeah.
Which is pretty harsh. But like I had a lot of prejudice about it. And so then,
Hmm.
yeah, no, I mean certainly. So then, I was kind of like later in life, I was getting more into metal, and people couldn't talk about like Iron Maiden and stuff, and I was like, okay, I need to give Iron Maiden a shot. I really need to give him a shot. And I had heard, I think the first song I really listened to was, I believe, shit, which one is it? Uh, I think it was Number of the Beast.
Yeah, that's a
Um, that's a
classic.
classic, yeah. And I think, or no, and I had also heard, I'd heard Lady Gaga's cover of like Run to the Hills, I believe it was.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And I saw some people like talking about it. I was like, okay, cool. But I always thought like it was just kind of something people wore as like, for lack of a better term, fashion. And we've seen that a bit here, like with the
Oh
metal
yeah.
community. Is that you'll see people wearing Metallica shirts just to wear Metallica shirts. I'll have students like a lot like will wear like Metallica or Iron Maiden shirt, and I'll ask them, "Hey, what's your favorite like Metallica album?" I'm not trying to like gatekeep them. I'm just like, "Hey, what do you enjoy by them?" And like they have no idea.
Yeah.
I just like Metallica, and
I've come across a few people like that too, and it's
and,
like,
it, and
oh yeah.
that to me is it's strange to me because like I'm not trying to say like they're not fans. It's just more that like to me like being a fan is like I can actually like engage in the music and actually listen to it and like I'm not saying they don't listen to it, but like I actively listen to it versus passively listen to it.
Yeah.
And that is one of my critiques of like the Spotify kind of culture is like you have the infinite playlist.
Yeah.
Um, and so like you maybe not know what you're listening to or any time, and people just kind of accept it. And that's the same. That's the same goes for like you're on infinite feed on Instagram. It's just you don't have to really engage in it if you don't really want to. You can kind of just consume it. But yeah, I gave Maiden. I listened to Run for the Hills. Finally, I wanted to listen to the original one because I heard Lady Gaga's version of it, and I was like,
It's
okay,
a good
like
cover.
it's a good cover.
It's a really good cover.
But I also had like and I saw some other bands were covering them, and I
Mm.
was like, I'll give them a shot. But there's a really and one of the covers actually we talked about this not in a previous episode was Uncle Acid's cover of Remember Tomorrow. Very
Whoa.
good. That's the
I gotta
B
check that one
side.
out.
That's the B side on Pusher Man, I think. Very very good
Okay.
cover. Yeah, you'll like it a lot. And I was like, this is a really good song. I want to go listen to the original, and so I went and listened to the Maiden version, enjoyed it. And but I kind of dove into Maiden, bought a bunch. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna buy like all six of the records. Not hard to do. And I started listening to them, and I started appreciating it, hearing more about like I liked how they had a lot of literary references. I liked that there was
Yeah.
a lot of historical references. Um, and I was mostly listening to like Bruce Dickinson stuff, which is the majority of the catalog. But and I got into Paul Diano. I have not actually listened to any of the other singers.
Really?
No. and so that's
Huh.
something I'm kind of restrictive on. But by the same token, I've never really listened to like any Judas Priest with like Tim Owens on it. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I kind of have like my favorite vocalists. Once again, it's a hard thing to change up on a band, um, but I'm worried about it kind of ruining the vibe for me,
Mhm.
and everything too. Um, so that, but yeah, I want to check it out, and I gave some main
Yeah.
listen, and I think the first album I listened to actively was Number of the Beast, and then
Oh yeah.
I went
Classic.
forward from there, um into like Power Slave and
Yeah.
Somewhere
Also
in
classic.
Time and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And I think that the one that really the that was just, it was really good. I started like watching some live performances. I love Live After Death. I actually think Live After
Yes.
Death is the best live album of all time.
Totally
Um
agreed. I
yeah,
I totally agree with you there. Live after that, it's really good.
it is. It's a
Good
great
album cover
set.
too.
It's a great set too. Um but yeah, but so that's kind of how like I kind of got into Maiden and tried it out. But what we wanted to talk about here today was kind of like how do you actually like approach like what's a good way if someone said, hey, I want to try a Maiden, or I'm kind of I'm Maiden curious, if you will.
Maiden
Um
Curious.
I don't know, that could be, I don't think I was for a long time until I took a
Yeah,
shot at it.
me too.
What would you do? How would you do that, Bill? Like what would you?
That's it's pretty. I mean, I don't want to say easy, but there are definitely harder bands to get into.
Oh, 100%.
Iron Maiden, they're so big at this point. They're just like kind of monolithic. Everybody kind of has either heard or
Yeah.
knows Iron Maiden, and
But I don't think they know what they sound like.
yeah,
Because
I
they're not
actually
getting radio play. Like they're not like they
no,
never I don't ever remember hearing them on the local rock stations.
no,
Um, I mean, I guess K Rock would have played them, but that's a big station that they have, like they
yeah,
play them on occasion. But
yeah,
I never really heard them like just around. Yeah.
yeah. You don't really. I mean, I remember seeing the video for Run to the Hills.
Mhm.
Sorry, a live performance of them playing Run to the Hills
Yeah.
on MTV. Remember that one was a good one. Uh, but yeah, they're kind of just like it's interesting because they're kind of just out of sight
Yeah.
apart from the merch, which I've seen a lot of
The
like
merch
going back.
is the merch is
It's
huge.
everywhere.
You can go buy it at Target. You can get it anywhere,
Yeah.
and that's one of those things. Like they're in that regard, the merch is like, I mean, you have bands like Metallica that sell a ton of merch.
Hmm.
If you probably want the highest percentage, like the highest ratio of merch sold to albums sold, it would probably be the Misfits.
Oh
like,
yeah.
like,
Everybody has a Misfits shirt, and most of them haven't heard Misfits.
well, everyone has a Misfits shirt, and then they have like seven of them, and and then the Misfits, how many albums did they really put out? Like,
Yeah.
it's not that many. It's like five, I think, essentially. But like,
Yeah.
but Maiden's one of those ones where I think the ratios are actually pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And they also and that's another thing Maiden's done. I think it's one of their masterful elements is that they have consistently invested artwork.
Oh, their
Um,
marketing and their artwork is
yeah,
all spot on. It's
because
all
we can
really
go back
good.
to bands of like basically like the late 70s, 80s, and they like there's some album covers that are just like they suck.
Yeah.
There's some great album covers from some bands. I think Juice Priest has a few album covers that aren't great. I don't think they're bad, but they're not great.
Yeah.
And Maiden really like gave you Eddie. They gave you the logo. You knew what you're in for. You could ID it from a spot. And so as far as branding goes, I think they're one of the top
Oh yeah.
bands for branding ever.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. There's only two album covers that I don't like,
oh
and
really?
that's Dance of Death, the 2003
Oh,
one.
yeah, that's trash. That's a trash cover.
It's a pretty trashy cover. The early CG with the fucking weird
Yeah.
naked people running with the masquerade masks. And the X Factor. I thought that one was a little. I mean, it's fine, but it's just it looks like
Corny.
it's a little
Oh, this is
corny.
like, yeah, the X Factor one is kind of like of that era. Like or you know what, that should have been a Megadeth cover.
Yeah, that's a very much a mega. It's not an Iron Maiden cover.
It's too
Yeah,
shadowy. It's too many shadows.
like it's too many shadows, and it's not the like the beautiful artwork of like Somewhere in Time, or
Yeah.
I got Somewhere in Time behind me. It's right on my shelf behind me,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
covered by something. Um, I think, God, I wonder my favorite one.
We're talking about favorite album covers.
Yeah, favorite Iron Maiden cover.
I mean,
You know,
I tell you mine. I like Number of the Beast a lot, actually.
oh, that one's
I think
good.
that's a really classic one with like the puppet strings and everything. I've
Yeah,
seen that
that
mimicked a few
that
times.
one's their classic.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Live After Death are probably my two. But I think Somewhere in Time has one of like that album cover to me is like I like how complex it is. It gives you the
Yeah.
future they're going for. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's got to be for me Fear of the Dark.
Really Dark's a good
That
cover.
one's that one's my favorite. If not that, then I'm
It's hard,
I'm
man. It's
really
hard.
par- I know it's hard. I'm really partial to A Matter of Life and Death
Hmm.
with the tank and you got like the skeleton guys.
I know people do like that one a lot, actually.
It's pretty good. It's you see the iconography from that a lot on merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but here's the question then. So,
Oh
like,
yeah, got off
you
track.
really, yeah, no, it's all right, it's all right. But that's part of the thing is like people are going to get into because they saw it around. I saw it around where it's they know the branding, but they don't know the band. They don't know the music.
I mean, that was both of us.
Yeah, no, hundred
That was
percent,
literally just both of
hundred
us.
percent,
Yeah.
100%. Um, so I think that like people usually get into like vocalists, and then you always get vocalist fights. You talk to Black Sabbath fans sometimes about vocalist fights and who they like the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
That's a don't get in the way of some people, but like um, I think with Maiden and you have Paul Di'Anno and then you have Bruce Dickinson are the two most popular ones. So you have the like kind of the early like recording vocalists, and then you have Bruce Dickinson who was with the band and leaves the band and comes back again.
Yeah.
Um, and like I think that Bruce is the easier one to approach.
I think the Bruce Dickinson of it all is probably the easiest one to kind of get into. Like, yeah, all
Well,
of
it's just
yeah.
I think Deanno to me is more like so Deanno is basically on like the original album, the first album, the self-titled album Iron Maiden, and then Killers. And then after that, you have Bruce Dickinson for very long, for almost like 10 years or so, and then you have a few other guys coming in and out, and you have Dickinson back again
Yeah.
much later on. But I think that like Dickinson's much more easier to. He's a very like versatile vocalist. I think he's more versatile than Deanno. Deanno, I think though, is a lot. The thing I think Deanno has on Dickinson is he's a little more soulful. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he's coming from like a real place. And I think a lot of that too is that like I mean they were a new band, they were
Yeah.
young. But Dickinson comes around and they're doing these massive tours. They're making money. They're selling albums. They're selling tons of merch. So I think that there's that kind of issue, and we also know Deanno struggled with some substance abuse stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of those.
Unfortunately.
What's that?
I said unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but I think Dickinson's a little more easier to approach in terms of that. So like I think the album I would go to if I was
Yeah,
going to
what
introduce
is
someone,
which one?
I think Power Slave.
I got to agree. That was kind of when I was thinking of, hey, the album that is the gateway to Iron Maiden is the one that immediately popped into my mind was Power Slave 2.
Yeah,
It
and I think Power Slave was the first one that I listened to really because I heard Run with the Hills and I listened to it a little bit, but I didn't get over. It didn't put me over yet in Iron Maiden. What did though was there's a cover of Flash of the Blade by Rhapsody of Fire,
Yes.
and
Oh my
that's a really
gosh.
good cover, and I love Rhapsody of Fire, and so I thought, oh, okay, I'll go listen to it.
Flash of the
And
Blade is a great song.
it was a great song, yeah. And so I went and listened to that, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to this album. And I thought Power Slave was really good, and I had a lot of respect because Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is on there, which is a big long
Yes.
track. But I think that Power Slave gives you like it opens with Aces High. That's an easy song to like
That is
to
an
vibe to.
easy song. Oh
That's
yeah.
that is a quintessential arena song.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
They always play it.
they
Always.
always play it.
They always play it.
Yeah. I think you have 2 minutes to midnight, which is like is once again another song that everyone can kind of sing to. He has but what's interesting is that like you have on these songs those two at least off the bat you have very like kind of get the gravitas of what they're doing lyrically. So Aces High is this kind of fighter pilot song, and then you have 2 Minutes to Midnight, which is a song about nuclear war and shit.
I actually
Um,
wrote an essay in college that mentioned 2 minutes to midnight. It's really interesting. It was about heavy metal and well nuclear weapons. So
I do think I think Back in the Village is probably the weakest track on here, but even
I
that's
agree. Even
not
if
the that's not like a bad
no,
Maiden's
it's a
track.
good song. Power
Yeah,
Slave is a good album, but the
Power
weak
Slave
it has to have a weak point,
it
right?
does have a weak point, yeah. And Power Slave, the song is really good. But Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is one of those ones that's going to put everyone over the top. Like you're going to get the big
Yeah.
epic. Um, so I think Power Slave
Story,
is a
it's an epic.
it
Yeah.
is an epic, yeah. And even if the thing about that too is like the thing about this album is nobody getting a Maiden, I think, is to watch live performances, like watch Live After Death,
Yes.
and watch like watch their performance and see how professional these guys are, how tight they are. Like
Hmm.
the thing about that, I always love watching about those performances, especially during Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, is you have the guitarist playing, and they're kind of like just like I don't know, man. Like they're playing through it like it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
Yes.
like they just play through it like it's super easy and like whatever. And you're like, no, this shit's like hard.
Yeah.
But they're such professionals at the point. And it really shows the performance. And like it's one thing to do something on an album recording. It's another thing to do something live on camera in front of
Yes.
a live audience. And so when you have someone like Dickinson holding like notes during Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner that are like, out of control, where you have like opera singers looking at this going, how the hell is he doing this? Like this is like humanly impossible, I think. It shows off that talent, and I think that's something that people can latch on to. Um,
Yeah.
Especially because like we can all of us, as long as we can all sing, like, whether well or not, is a different story. But we can all sing. We all understand what it is to like hold breath and to be able to produce sound for a long time. But not all of us understand guitars or drums or whatever it may be. But like you can watch a guy and you're like, oh shit, like that's impressive. And so I think there's even you can even approach Maiden from the spectacle of the
Yeah.
talent.
Absolutely.
And I
Even
think that's a
their
yeah.
shows are very approachable to new audiences.
And now that's the difference between you and me is that you've been to Maiden shows. I've never been to Maiden.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've
and
been
you
to
were
two of their
shocked.
shows, and
What,
they're
which tours were those?
it was one was the Legacy of the Beast, and the other
Hmm.
was back Days of Future Past.
Okay.
I think it was. I have both shirts from
Do
it. So
Do you remember who opened on those ones?
the first one was Trivium.
Oh wow, interesting.
It was a really good opener. I love Trivium. And then the second one was, oh man, what was it?
Hmm. We'll go. We'll figure it out.
It was, oh man. Give me a sec.
All
I'm gonna look it up at this point.
right, all right.
Um,
But yeah, I think that Power Slave
the
is
Who,
probably the Who. Wow, shit, that's impressive.
sorry, the Who, the
Oh,
Mongolian,
the Who. Okay,
yeah,
I was like the Who. I was like, shit, oh, damn.
no, not them.
Okay.
Yeah,
But no, I think Maiden's like one of those. I think Power Slave's a really good one to like approach.
yeah.
What would be another one you would recommend to approach?
The album wise,
Yeah,
I
album wise, yeah.
think yeah, Power Slave is a really good one. But the one that I mean, also kind of a bit of a bias because it's my personal favorite one,
Mm-hmm.
Brave New World.
No, it's a newer
Um,
one.
it's the newer being like 2000. Uh, uh,
Well, that was a return of Dickinson, wasn't it?
yes, that was his return, I believe. Um, actually, no, was it? Oh man, I don't remember. Either way, it was yeah, Brave New World. It's a really good one. It's my personal favorite and kind of often what I default to when I've shown people Iron Maiden.
That was his return, yeah, because he came back in '99.
Yes, okay, it was his return album, and it's a really strong album. I love. Oh God, it's Ghost of the Navigator
Okay.
is one that I really like to show people.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, there's some positive results. People seem to like it. Uh, the Nomad, Blood Brothers, Fallen Angel, Dream of Mirrors, all those are pretty approachable to newer audiences. It isn't like Killers or
Yeah, Killers. So that going back to like the first album and then Killers. I think those are actually not hard to listen to. I think though I think that like even though we're saying like they're not as approachable, I think they still are very approachable.
They are. Oh,
Um,
it's an approachable band.
it really is. Yeah, I do think that the self-titled one is a little harder than Killers.
That one's an acquired taste.
Yeah, there are some tracks I really like. Remember Tomorrow, Running Free's on
Me
there, which
too.
is a great song. Phantom of the Opera's on there. Charlotte the
Phantom of
Harlot's
the
on there.
Opera.
But then like Killers, you get the Eyes of March. Wrathchild is a dope ass song.
Wrathchild is a
Wrathchild's
banger.
got some energy. That's a banger.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And you get like what's the other one here? I like a lot. You get Killers itself, which is a great track. But
Hmm.
I think that like those two aren't bad, and I would recommend trying to like because one of the problems here is that one of the things that they did, putting them in contrast with the Misfits again, is that like Dickinson sang the songs from the previous singer, no problem.
Oh yeah, he can do it. He can
You can
just
do it.
cover all
Where
that.
like
Yeah.
you're never going to hear you would never in a thousand years hear Danzig sing a Michael Graves Misfits stuff.
No.
Like,
No, you would
like
not.
if you want to fight Danzig, go to a concert and start yelling, sing, dig up her bones or something like that in
Oh
the
my
front row,
God.
and you would
That's how you get thrown out of the venue.
yeah, you would be quickly thrown out of a venue. Yeah, you'd get that badge of honor being thrown out of a venue by Danzig.
Honestly,
Dig up her bones. Dude,
kind of want to do that. You know?
yeah, no, I mean, an experiment. Make sure you get on video though for the deposition.
True.
But
Very true.
um, yeah, no, and that's one thing is I heard a lot of songs on Live After Death that were sung by Dickinson, but then I went back and listened to the piano versions, and it's kind of cool though. I
Yeah.
like how they both handle the same track in different ways,
Yeah.
playing to strength. So I think that's a big one. So you're saying okay, so Brave New World that's one people like a lot too. That's actually one I hear a lot of people really enjoy.
Mhm.
The other one I would push towards is I think Somewhere in Time is really strong.
I
Uh,
absolutely agree.
I
I
I
love
think
that one.
that album has like a really good literary kind of theme to it.
It does.
I like Caught Somewhere in Time a lot. Wasted Years is really good. Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner is excellent. I think that's one of their most underrated tracks, actually.
I agree. I really like
Alexander
Alexander
the
the
Great.
Great from that one. That one's
Alexander the
really
Great
good.
is a hell of an essay. Um,
It is
it
a hell
is.
of an essay. It
It's a hell of
is.
an essay, man. You could plagiarize that and turn it in for like an eighth grade report. And you probably get an A.
Absolutely.
But that album, I like that one a lot too. And I will say, this, I actually think that's actually one of their best album covers.
I agree.
Um,
Totally
I
agree.
I think that one has a vibe to it.
Yeah.
Good sci-fi stuff to it, which is
Mhm.
interesting because you saw a lot of kind of fantasy stuff with like metal at the time, but you didn't see as much sci-fi. And
No,
so
you didn't. And like the kind of they really I really love the kind of the overlap of like sci-fi and metal. Like there's a good overlap and they kind of I mean we would be lying to ourselves if we said that album cover, the Summer in Time album cover didn't influence a lot of sci-fi.
oh no, it's huge. It's like a very what we'd call like proto cyberpunk.
Yes,
Because that's
very proto
86.
cyberpunk.
Yeah. The term cyberpunk is around then, but like it's still in its infancy.
Yes.
And hasn't really like but yeah, that one does set a tone. Yeah, you can pull that and put that in 2077 and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that like picking up any of those and just trying to give them a listen, but I actually think that, like watching the live after death would be one of the best ways to do it too. Like watch these guys play.
Yeah.
Listen to it and watch them play. And then if you hear a song on there you liked a lot, go get that album and try it out. See what you get.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I would approach Maiden. I think the other thing about that too is that like when you're talking about like music, you have like it's one of the things I struggle with talking to my students right now is I've asked students like what kind of like they're like, oh, I'm into music. I'm like, what are you into? Who do you like? And they'll be like, well, I listen to Spotify. And I'll be like, well, who on Spotify? No, I just put Spotify on.
Like
And
Spotify as an artist.
yeah, like Spotify is the artist or a genre, and I'm like, no, like that's not a band. That's a service. That to me is like no different. If I say, well, I listen to vinyl, it's like well, that doesn't tell you what I'm listening to. It just tells you that I listen to something.
Yeah.
I could be listening to comedy records for all or sampler records or something like that. It's like whatever radio shows. So I think like ask yourself, what are you into? What do you want? I also think the other thing about Maiden, and this is kind of a kind of a I think kind of like something about them that a lot of other bands can do is that their songs work on different volumes. So like
They
there's some
do.
bands I can only really listen to loud. Like I don't think I could listen to like Skeleton Witch like at a low volume.
No, it's not. You gotta like blast it on some
You gotta blast it.
speakers.
You
Yeah, it's
gotta
got
because
yeah.
otherwise a lot of the sounds are gonna drown out the other sounds. Where
Hmm.
Maiden, I feel like stuff will come through even at like a lower mid volume pretty well.
Yeah,
Um, because nothing's and it's not that it's like flat sounding, it's just that like everything comes through on it. So I
yeah.
yeah, but I would pick up I think Number of the Beast would be probably where I would start, and then I would jump out into either Live After Death or Power Slave, and then Somewhere in a Time. And um, I don't. I did tell Bill there's one song of Maiden I fucking hate. Like I
Oh,
really.
yeah.
So I didn't talk about Seven Son of Seven Son. I actually like Seven Son of Seven Son a lot.
It's
I
good.
think I think that
It's a hard one to get
Moonchild,
into.
The Evil That Men Do, Seven Son of Seven Son song, The Clairvoyant I think is a really good song. Only
Yes.
the Good Die Young. Those are all great tracks. I hate Can I Play with Madness. I hate that track. Um, and it's not that it's like poorly produced, poorly performed. It's just I do not like that song, and I it just annoys me.
Do you
It's
know why?
I don't know why. It kind of I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I try to avoid it, but it reminds me. I have this friend, and he decided like he's like I'm going to see too many movies. I'm spending too much money going to see movies, and he made a choice. He's like, all right, I have to pick an actor whose movies I will never see, and he picked Russell Crowe.
Huh.
And he's like, I will not go. This is like early 2000s. He's like, I will never go see a Russell Crowe movie because, and like and if people ask him, well, why are you seeing Russell Crowe movies? He's like, I just don't watch Russell Crowe movies. And people thought he hated Russell Crowe, and
Huh.
he was like, no, I don't hate him. He's just, I just want to cut down on the movies I see, and the way I learn how to save money on movies is not to watch movies with Russell Crowe.
That is so funny.
Right?
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
and so I don't know if it's a thing like that where like that song just like rubbed me the wrong way once, and I just couldn't listen to it again.
You
Or
couldn't,
if I
yeah.
actively dislike it, I mean, I have it in another room. I can put on the hi-fi and listen to it, maybe give it a shot. But I'll be like, I feel like that that boat has sailed
Yes.
on that song. It's too late to salvage the relationship I have with that song. I acknowledge that it exists,
Yeah.
but I'm not. But I feel like if they played that live, I'd be like, all right, time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
We'll get a bucket of beer.
We go to a show together. I'm just gonna sing the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
"Can I play with
Oh
madness"
fuck
in your
you,
ear
man.
and
That's
send
not
you into a
funny.
rage.
You're bad. You're a bad man, Bill. But
I know how to. I know how to.
you gonna antagonize me?
Yep.
Yeah, man. No, it was funny because like our one buddy were like, yeah, we're gonna go to the movies tonight. He's like, what are you guys going to see? Like, you want to come along? He's like, yeah, I'll come along. That sounds great. What are you guys going to see? And it was like some Russell Crowe movie. He's like, nope.
Nope. Sorry.
And like it
Have
wasn't
fun.
even Russell Crowe starring in it. It was like he has like 3-4 minutes of the movie as like a cameo. And he's
Cameo.
like, yeah, he couldn't deal with it.
Sorry,
Like
it's
it
a
was
Russell Crowe movie.
Russell Crowe's in it. Can't watch it.
That's
Like
so
it was
funny.
wild. Like we know he
Oh,
avoided like the Thor movie where Russell Crowe plays Zeus and shit. Like
oh.
he's like, yeah, oh no, Russell Crowe's in it, ruined it. Can't risk it. Like
Was he like
it
was
was
he
so
like the?
bizarre. It's so
Oh my
good.
god.
It's so arbitrary. I love how arbitrary. I just love how like stupidly arbitrary it is.
You
Um,
you gotta like I gotta be the devil on your shoulder here and be like you have to take him to a movie that he doesn't know Russell
oh,
Crowe's
that'd be
having a
bad.
cameo in. It's gonna fucking
He'd
hate
just
you.
walk
Just like me
out. He'd just walk
singing.
out.
It's
Nope. I
just
was like,
like me.
he'd
Oh
break his oath. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, But I think Maiden. One thing I'll do about Maiden is listen to like how it's very bass driven because Steve Harris is the main guy. So like there's bass lines you can catch on to, and that's what I think that's what's interesting thing about like what can you latch onto. I think you can latch onto the lyrics
Yeah.
because they're really innovative. They're very interesting. They bring you like a story. I think they're well delivered vocally, and
Oh yeah.
vocalists are a great way to latch onto a band. The riffs are solid.
Hmm.
You're gonna hear some stuff you can kind of nod, bang. No, I don't say necessarily bang your head to. Like I feel like Iron Maiden doesn't come off as a head banging thing to me. Like it feels like you're kind of vibing, you're kind of nodding
Yeah, you're
along.
just you're grooving to it.
You're
Yeah.
grooving to it. Yeah, you're not like hard. Like Slayer is like hardcore head bang. You're like I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
bop bop
Yeah,
bop
yeah,
bop
yeah.
bop bop. It's hitting hard. Where like it isn't that Maiden doesn't hit hard. It's just like it's not as like aggressive in that regard. It's just but it's still there.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the bass lines are where it's really at.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
you many would agree with you. I am one of them. I mean, I started really kind of latching on to the vocalist,
yeah.
to the vocals, and then I kind of listened to it more and kind of like dissected it when I
Mm.
was listening to it. And the bass lines are solid. I mean, we knew this. We've known that Iron Maiden is a solid band, but those bass lines are really good.
Yeah, no, Harris, I think that I think Harris he has like I think he's a good bassist. I think he knows what I think he's a good bassist for what he's doing. My problem with Steve Harris is I haven't heard him do much else besides Maiden.
And you know
And
what? That's okay.
that's okay. No, that's okay. So I can't judge him as a bassist quality overall. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like kind of put him in any kind of band. Like I've never heard him play in a jazz band or something like that, right? So like, but I think what he does with Maiden, I think he has it down.
He
I think
does.
he's
He's got
perfected
it down
it.
to a science.
Yeah, he's gotten down to a science. He can go up there. They put on good shows. But I think that like he's the one. I mean, he's the main guy. It's not a vocalist
Yeah.
based band. It's not like a guitar based band. He's part of that lineage of bands where like the core member is the basis for the entire run of the band.
Yeah.
Uh, Judas Priest is like this. I think Halloween's been like this. A lot of bands, like big bands, have had just the bass has been the
Yeah.
anchor, which is interesting to think about because usually the basis usually kind of goes towards like the background. What's the line from Metalocalypse? Like when Murderface
Oh.
he tells him like he's like, yeah, I play bass in the band. Like, so what's your job? Do you get the rest of the members water? Like, it's like,
Oh my
um,
God.
uh, yeah, it's kind of, but yeah, the Harris is really good in this regard. So I'd really recommend it. But I haven't. Yeah, I'm looking through his credits here and like where he's played bass on and like on Discogs, and it's like he's played on like the number of non-Maiden tracks he's played on is like maybe 10.
I mean, he's consistent.
Yeah,
He's
I don't
consistent
think
and
it's even
knows
10. Actually, I think it's like closer to like I think it's closer to like five,
it's not
maybe.
a lot. Less than you
Not a
can count
lot.
on two hands.
Yeah, and so I don't know what he's played on where it's not Maiden.
That's funny.
But I mean, he owns the product. I mean, that's his band, so you might as well you're gonna stick with your own thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, try any of these out, man. Just go give it a shot. Give Maiden some shots.
Yeah.
And if one way to approach it too is once again, I talked about the Lady Gaga thing or the Rhapsody of Fire thing. Let's do a cover
Yeah.
and vibe on that.
I know a Machine Head cover. They
Hmm.
covered "Hallowed Be Thy Name."
Oh wow.
That was a good one. He nails it. It's really good. I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, I have both of them on the same playlist, and it's really funny to hear one and then the other. Um, but yeah, no, it's listen to covers. And
So,
another thing that I will say though is their most recent album, Senjutsu.
mm,
It's very good. It's ambitious and it's
it
a
is.
little different. There's some songs that are softer. You got some more kind of ballad focused ones. I it's a very strong album and it's also a really good one to start with. There's kind of something for everybody there. I remember being hyped as hell when they released that animated video for Writing on the Wall.
Yeah, I remember that one.
One of my favorite Maiden songs. It's good. It's like that. Also, like the single cover, you got the kind of cloaked figure with like the crows circling overhead.
Yeah.
Got the motorcycle on the cliff. It's rad. Oh, it's just rad.
Yeah, I had listened to this one for a while.
It's a good one.
Um,
I'm a fan.
yeah, I have his album. I honestly only listened to it once.
Really?
Yeah, I had I thought Senjutsu was it's a B minus Iron Maiden album. I think
This is where we differ.
It's very different. Yeah, that's one problem with Maiden stuff is like I feel like the stuff like that core stuff in the '80s, that big body of work in the '80s is just so strong.
Oh yeah, that's not a debate.
Yeah,
That's not a debate at all.
and so I kind of get in this position where yeah, because I'm looking at my Discogs score and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, so yeah, I gave it a B.
Yeah.
But it's not. That doesn't say it's bad. Yeah, it was good. Like I'll pick up any Maiden album that comes out. Like I'll pre-order it and get it in my house and everything. But yeah, I remember this one. I thought it was solid. Like I thought it was okay. I just don't. That's why I kind of worry about the people who are like, well, I'm gonna try to start the new stuff and work my way back. and I think that like that can be kind of problematic at times for some people, might deter them somewhat. I will say this though, that the band that like that works for currently, and this is where I'm gonna make Bill mad, is
Mhm.
I think Judas Priest. I think their last album was really good.
Hmm.
I thought Invincible Shield was really good, and the Firepower, and they going and you can go back, but like even that's another story. That's another episode. Because I actually went backwards with Judas Priest. I started with
Whoa.
yeah, I didn't start with the early stuff. I started with I started with Redeemer of Souls and went back. And so
Mm.
that's another episode we'll do. But like,
Yeah, we got to do that one. I'm a fan of Redeemer of Souls.
I
I
think
like
Redeemer of
it.
Souls. People, what's funny is people. There's some people that really hate that album, and I don't. I'm like, why? Like, it's so
I,
good.
opinions are something that everybody has,
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
much like
fair.
something else.
Yes,
But you know, I
yeah,
liked it.
I
I
liked it
really
too.
did, and I don't get it. I don't get the hate for it.
I think there's a well, I've noticed that with too with a lot of, and this is one of the things like with bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Name a band that has a 30+ year career, 40+ year career.
Not many.
Not many. You'll find that people are like, oh, they don't like the new stuff. They want a nostalgia for the old stuff, for that early stuff. Play this song, play that one. Don't play the new shit, right? And I think there's that kind of attitude is that like people are like, well, I want to listen to the stuff I listened to when I was a kid or when I was younger because it'll pull me back to that time when I maybe felt better or kind of nostalgic. Instead of being like,
Oh,
I'm going to be open to a new experience, a new version of this. Because I've listened to bands that have like these huge careers. These ones obviously, someone like Arthur Brown's newer stuff.
oh yeah.
I liked some of the newer Heart stuff was really good. I actually really liked what was it? Beautiful was it Beautiful
Beautiful
Disaster?
Broken.
Beautiful Broken. I really like that album actually.
It's a
Like
good one.
that. That was
It's real good.
that's a real good album. Yeah. There's what's another band's like going way back like that. Even something like you said the Misfits. No. Sorry.
Going back
Segue.
to the Misfits.
It always goes back to the Misfits guys there.
It's
I
always coming back to the
it
Misfits.
always I gotta yeah, I feel like I can be on my podcast and talk poorly about the Misfits because if I do it in concerts, some people might get really angry about it. 'Cause Misfits fans are kind of wild, dude. There's some people that is their whole persona. But I'm trying to think of there was someone else I was thinking about. Oh, like a band like Halloween that
Oh,
has been around since the mid '80s. People like some people want to like listen to this vocalist or that vocalist or this era, that era, and you can't really like where I feel like people aren't open to the newer stuff, and that gets worrisome to me. They want to hear the same old songs over and over again. Um,
yeah.
and
I
I
mean, listen, I am definitely partial to listening to a song over and over and
yeah,
over and over until I'm sick of it.
and I
But
and then like so I think that like we need to be more open. So I do think that with Maiden is one of the issues is that like with and this is like as a broader critique of fandoms is that people get like I want this thing that I knew and I want to listen to something that I know,
yeah,
not I want to be listen to something different or challenged or whatever it may be. Play the hits, play the hits, play the hits. And I think that's a dangerous it's not a good approach to music. I think you were gonna say something. Sorry.
no, I agree. I definitely think I agree with you there.
One of the ones that was interesting for me on that front, and thinking about approachability, um, was like Sisters of Mercy were really fascinating for this
Yes.
because they haven't put a new album out since 1990. Yet when you go see them live, they're
Jeez.
over half their songs are new. They've never officially released or recorded.
I God, that's wild. I love Sisters of Mercy, but I'm not kind of caught up on their, I guess, lore, right? I
Yeah,
guess like
there's a lot of new songs, we'll say, and you have like there's like a wiki about all the new songs they play and everything. But a lot of it is that they like if you uh you want to go kind of look back into Eldritch's attitude towards record labels
mm,
is I believe they're still under contract to do a new album, but they don't like the deal, and so they won't
interesting.
record a new album.
That's badass.
Yeah, so
Love that.
yeah, so for 35 years he's been like, yep, nope, no new album, but I'll tour and I'll charge a lot for my tickets.
That's all. I mean, that's awesome. And if you've
Yeah,
kind of garnered that like sort of falling from that. I love that.
But
I mean,
what's interesting about that is you go to the show and like you hear the classics and then but you hear some new stuff and you're still trying to vibe onto it. And like I think
yeah,
in that context, I think that's one of the things that's kind of cool about concerts is when you're in that context, like you can't walk out. And so like when you go see Maiden right now, yeah, they're gonna play some. They're gonna probably over half their set, probably like 2/3 of their set's gonna be classics.
yeah.
But then like the other third's gonna be the new stuff off the last like 2, 3 albums.
They played a bunch of new stuff back
Yeah.
when I saw them both times. They played their newer stuff, a lot off of Senjutsu. And I will say, the first time I saw them, they did not play Hell on Earth, which is my
Hmm.
favorite song from the newest album. They played it on the second show that I saw them at,
Interesting.
and it really lended itself well live. It's a long song, but they killed it. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
So therein lies kind of what our message here is like, find that point, like find the way to get into the band. So the cover's a great way to start into it. Find a song you kind of dig the vibe of, listen to that
Yeah,
one, then go listen to the whole album.
yeah,
And I would recommend with Maiden especially, I would recommend against doing it Spotify style. Like that is just getting much of I try to listen to the whole album front to back.
yeah.
Once you
Of
kind of
course.
get past that over that initial hump, and I think you have a pretty good time with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's kind of what I feel like I have to say about getting into Maiden is just like, yeah, it's just image, this is brand to it. It's
Yes.
there, but what does it sound like? And you look at the art, and like, I don't know what that's gonna sound like. This is
Yeah.
quite the contrast to the Misfits or like Sisters of Mercy, where you're like, it's gonna sound like this.
Yes.
But what and the art's so diverse, what do you expect? But then you get into it and you get kind of an experience
Yeah.
with it.
The album art is part of the experience. So when you
100%.
like I know for me a lot, when I'm listening to an album, I will just be kind of like staring at the album
Mhm.
cover. That's oftentimes what I do. Like if I'm playing something on vinyl or in my living room, I will like just look at the album cover and just kind of be like staring at it. And
Yeah, put it on display. That's a big part. That's a big part of the production. I mean, and these
yeah,
guys, they spent money, thousands of dollars to
absolutely
have this art produced. So like, you want to sit
enjoy
down with
it.
it, enjoy it. Yeah, make it part of that whole experience. So I think Maiden's one of those bands where you can't separate the album from the artwork, the
No.
actual physical artwork. I think you could do that. I will say that's actually like one edge they have over like Judas Priest because like Judas Priest artwork's been all over the place for like since it
Yeah,
started.
very much
Um,
so.
it's all over the place. So like I think that's a big element of it too is kind of that consistency and you kind of have that. I think that's why people like Iron Maiden because they feel like they're going home. I think that's why they
Yeah.
feel like going to shows. They feel like they're going home.
Yes.
If you want to see if you want to see a ridiculous crowd too, I will say this, man. For those who don't know, man, South Americans love Iron Maiden, dude.
Oh yes, Rock
Dude,
in Rio.
there's like we have like heavy metal concerts and big concerts here in the States. They ain't shit compared to South American like Iron Maiden shows, man. That stuff is wild. I've seen
South
footage
American
of,
Iron Maiden shows go hard.
yeah. That
Yeah,
is there's I don't know what's going on down there, man, but those folks love Iron
that's
Maiden.
on the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, no, that'd be a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, everyone, thank you for listening to more than metal.
More than metal. This was
More
almost just metal. Wow.
it was almost just metal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I brought up the Sister Mercy and the Misfits.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna have to do that every episode now. That's gonna be like the thing is to talk about like these two bands for some reason. But
Sisters of Mercy and the Misfits. Yeah.
there's a very divergent bands, man. I don't know. I
Very
got a
much
lot.
so.
I Sisters are one of my favorite bands, like by
Mhm.
far. Misfits. I didn't start listening to Misfits until recently, and it kind of until like a few years ago, and I'll go into like why I didn't listen to the Misfits for the same reason I don't listen to Led Zeppelin
And what is that reason?
because all my friends told me how great it was before I
Oh,
listened to it,
oh my
and
God.
I don't think it could ever last. So I had to
Can't live
wait
up to the hype.
I had to wait like 15 years
Wow.
from like hearing anybody go on about the Misfits till I started listening to the Misfits.
That's
And the
funny.
problem is that no one will shut up about Led Zeppelin to me, so I can't listen to it.
Well, you just probably haven't listened to Led Zeppelin enough. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, and
I
you,
think you'd really, really, really see just how incredible and how incomparable Led Zeppelin is.
yeah,
That's like half sarcastic.
yeah.
They're
It's
a
just
good band, but yeah.
no. And that's the problem. Is like once like that's the problem. That was kind of my concern. Maiden actually approaching it was like I saw how die hard the fans were.
Oh yeah.
My buddy Louis was like wearing shirts all the time, and I'm
Mhm.
like, it can't be that good, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way it's going to be as good as you're making it out to be.
Yeah,
And I
like
and I
it's
think and I think that's one of the problems with like fandoms is we always try to make stuff out to be these huge,
it's an
grandiose things.
incredible thing. It's the next Jesus. It's like
Oh
it's the
yeah,
second
man.
coming of Christ. Like that whole thing.
Hey, and therein lies a whole other episode talking about the Beatles and how like basically
Mm,
like the biggest thing is Jesus Christ and you kind of screw yourself out. But you're like, it's not
yep.
untrue.
Yeah.
Um, all right, we rambled on too long, guys. Thank you very much for
Yeah, that's
listening. We hope you
okay.
guys have a good one.
Take
We'll be
care.
back with more. Y'all have a good night. Later.